Why is it so hard for you to forgive yourself? Well, it could be for many reasons. The main reason could stem from you feeling embarrassed or ashamed, or maybe you were never taught how to express yourself. Maybe you were never seen. Maybe you were never heard. Maybe you felt lonely or alone. Maybe you were around certain people and places who didn't have the emotional intelligence. Maybe they didn't care. There are many reasons on why it may be challenging for you to forgive yourself. But in this video, we're going to go over some recommendations in order for you to validate yourself, to accept forgiveness, and forgive yourself. Even though that's the same thing. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And you guys, my lips are ashy and they need moisturizer. But when it comes to forgiveness, nobody can force you to do anything that you don't want to do. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and apply that to yourself and others. Now, as your favorite mental health specialist, I don't sugarcoat anything to anybody because that's not going to help you. What is going to help you is to know that when you decide to forgive yourself, you have to take your time. There's not a specific timeline on how long you choose to let go of things or how certain things are going to affect you. So when you are learning to forgive yourself and move forward and others, you have to take your time. You don't have to rush forgiveness because it's a choice. And once you are aware that everybody in the world may not forgive you or forgiveness is not something they believe in, you won't internalize what other people did to you. Now, this is not to justify what has happened to you or to invalidate your experiences, but in order for you to forgive yourself, at least, because we're not responsible for others and what they do and how they act, is for you to realize that you made certain choices based off of what you knew in the moment, in the time, with the resources you had. And your resources could be your education, could be your finances, it could have been your environment, it could have been who you were listening to, it could have been what you were taught, what you were exposed to, what you witnessed, what you heard, anything like that, or even family members and friends. So no, this doesn't mean what has happened to you in your past when it comes to negativity or traumatic situations is okay or acceptable, but for you to realize that if you knew better in those moments, you wouldn't have allowed certain things to happen. And a lot of times in life, we're either going to realize we have control over certain situations, or we can only do so much. So if you were touched on inappropriately at an early age, trigger warning, and you weren't able to be aware or didn't realize it was appropriate, learning to forgive yourself for not knowing, or if you had certain things, certain secrets that you tried to tell other people and they talked about you or they betrayed you, to realize that you expressing yourself wasn't a bad thing. You trying to get help, you trying to have understanding or have someone to just believe in you was based off of you feeling the way you did, right? So forgiveness is going to allow you to accept what was, so you no longer continue to move forward. So forgiveness is going to trigger you, it's going to challenge you. So if certain things happen to you, like that example I gave, or if people were being mean to you and you were bullied and maybe you didn't know what to say, or maybe they bullied you to where you became anxious and had anxiety, that now you are aware of when someone is saying negative things or trying to hurt you or manipulate you, and that you either A, can react and respond and express to them, you don't appreciate this is not appropriate, or represent yourself, or just completely deny access, remove them, and stop speaking to them. Forgiveness is for you. A lot of people may not appreciate this approach, but once again, I'm not here to force anybody to, but for the people who resonate with, it's really imperative to forgive yourself, because it's like, I'm not responsible for what other people have done to me. This doesn't mean I haven't gone through anything, but I'm not going to do that. If my intentions weren't to harm or hurt anybody, it's not hard to apologize, especially to myself. And it's not fair for me to pick up energy that I wasn't putting out in the world. A lot of people say, you are what you attract when it comes to toxicity or narcissistic and evil people. That's not true. Just because I'm a genuine person and people see you, people feel you, people can see that in you, doesn't mean that I deserve any of these bad things to happen. And that's the same thing with you. And that's why I personally advise and inform people to practice forgiveness for themselves, because we're not responsible for what people did, right? And until you learn to forgive yourself, until people are vocal, until people communicate, until people express what has happened to them and how it's made them feel, abuse is going to continue, and it's a cycle, and it's not okay. So I'm not telling you to forgive anybody other than yourself, especially if you say you believe in God, ancestors, and universe. You have to take yourself out of the picture and look at it from a higher perspective. But the forgiveness is for you. And in order for you to forgive yourself, you do have to talk about how certain situations affected you. You have to allow yourself to feel triggered. The discomfort that you feel is you suppressing your feelings. Like I said, maybe you weren't taught, maybe you don't communicate, maybe you feel afraid, but your forgiveness is not for you to be ashamed or embarrassed or to think that you are not worthy or you're less than. Like, forgiving yourself gives you the freedom, gives you the creativity, gives you the power that you have, and the discernment and the wisdom to, like I said, no longer allow things that you don't like to continue in your life. And it's really imperative, once you forgive yourself, you're not going to be so hard on yourself. You're not going to be constantly depressed and have anxiety. Now, this doesn't mean you're not going to go through, like I said, the temporary discomfort, which is withdrawals, unbalanced emotions, right? Because you're learning to be stable, excuse me, and grieve. So it is a process, that it is a journey, but as you grieve, as you show up for yourself, as you set boundaries, as you learn to communicate, as you realize what's worth your time and energy, you're not going to continue to make certain choices. And once again, once you realize where you have control over, other people trying to do things is external. And that's where a lot of people, you know, talk about their external reality versus their internal reality. Like, what the world is doing has nothing to do with you. How people feel about you has nothing to do with you. People being weird and negative has nothing to do with you. As long as you know you're safe, as long as you know you're doing everything that you can, you don't have to worry about what other people say and do. You don't have to worry about people trying to manipulate you or take advantage of you or stalk you or harass you or lie. You can't lie to everybody, and you can't lie forever. And it's just really mindful that you are aware of your surroundings, you are aware of how you feel. And the forgiveness is for the little girl who didn't know they were being essayed, for the little boy who was being essayed, for you not knowing that people were being mean and being shady, and you could have said so many things, but you didn't because you weren't aware or you didn't have those intentions. Like, I personally am not going to stop being a good person just because other people who were never my friends, families, or significant others tried to take advantage of me. Like, ew, side eye. I have been removed and they've been removed. I don't care to speak on them. I only speak on certain situations for those to move forward, but I don't even explain all of that in details, because it's like, people know what they did. You know what you did. I know what you did. God knows what you did. Even if you don't believe in the answers in the universe, like, people are aware. So the forgiveness is not for them. It's not to flex. I don't care. The forgiveness is for me, so I don't have to, like I said, have sleepless nights and I'm tossing and turning and I'm worried about how. No, I forgive myself. And because I forgive myself, I'm going to be blessed. Everything that's for me is going to be for me, and everything that's for you is going to be for you. Like, once you learn to forgive yourself, you don't have to be worried, because you know, like I said, other people doing what they do has nothing to do with you. As long as you know you're being safe and you're not, like I said, harming yourself or being harmed, it's certain ways that you handle solutions, okay? And if you do believe in God, ancestors, the universe, have conversations, build relationships. Even if you do, even if you don't, you guys know I don't force spirituality or religion onto people, because you're going to believe in what you believe in. Take what resonates, leave the rest. There's no timeline when it comes to forgiveness. It could take years, months, days. It depends on what you are forgiving yourself for and why. The real question you need to ask yourself is, why are you forgiving yourself? Once you know why you're forgiving yourself for maybe being uneducated, being unaware, maybe not having, like I said, anybody to guide you or to help you, you will realize, okay, I don't need to continue to be sad about this, or I don't need to continue to be depressed, or I don't continue to need to be anxious. I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to be embarrassed. I don't need to be ashamed. Like, we made choices based off of what we knew. And if we knew better, we would do better. And if you did, you have to be responsible for your actions. They're called consequences. If you knew certain things were not a certain type of way and you still went against it, that is your responsibility. And even when you make certain choices like that, learn from them. You don't have to continue to go through the same things or be around the same people if you realize how certain situations are affecting you and everyone else around you who have your greatest good. And people who are loving, people who want to be in a relationship with you will apologize. People who cannot apologize can't even apologize to themselves. Do not become the people who try to hurt and harm you. Do not allow anybody to steal your joy, because that's not your energy. It's very simple. Like, forgiveness is very simple once you realize it's not your energy. And once you learn to validate yourself, you don't care about how other people think and do. Like, me forgiving myself for other people, like I said, being very nasty and rude, I don't want nothing to do with them. I would never be their friends. I would never be your girlfriend. I would never want to associate myself with you. So why would I allow you to put that pain and suffering? No, you could be miserable in the corner by yourself. And you have to realize that hurt people want to harm others. Forgive yourself so you don't continue to be these people. Like, it's very just degrading. And once you realize, once you cry, yell, scream, and shout, you go through your emotions, right? You get a notebook, you journal how you feel, you go for a walk, you exercise, you find ways to cope, you take a nap, you cry, you grieve, like, you celebrate, you're sad, you isolate, you self-reflect, you talk to your therapist, find people to confide in, you pray, go to church, read your word, whatever it is. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You will understand why forgiveness is important. So don't rush. Take your time and realize how certain situations affect you. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, and these videos resonate with you, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you want me to continue to talk about videos like this, or if you want me to talk about anything else. Turn on your post notifications. Okay, subscribe. Like this video. Like. And when you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all information will be down in the description box below. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where on my story I go live, and not on my story, but on my story I do questions and answers, and I do polls about what you guys want to talk about. And on Instagram and TikTok, I've been tongue twisted in this video. I will be going live, answering you guys' questions, seeing what we need to talk about, what needs to be applied, and what we can do moving forward, as well as in the community section on YouTube. And if you want a one-on-one session, head to my website at TiGuidance@summer.com. But forgiveness is for you. Nobody else but you. Okay? Love you. Bye.